How's it going, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another Dokkan Battle video, and today I'm going to be taking a look at every single base Vegito currently in the game. Of course, this includes the Int type, the Teq type, as well as the Agility type, and of course the Agility type is a brand new one who is currently exclusive to 10,000 people in the Japanese version of the game. Of course, eventually he will be available through summons, but I'm super excited to have a look at every single one and just to see how much they have evolved since their release. But as always, I hope you guys are having a great day, and if you do enjoy today's video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you are new. And of course, if you want to see particular SSR analysis videos in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. But let's go ahead and get started with the Int type. His leader skill gives a 30% health and attack boost to all types, so nothing great by any means. I'm sure that at the time of his release it still wasn't that great, just simply because he didn't provide any key. If I'm not mistaken, at the time of his release we already had a few key leads within Turles, Ultimate Gohan. I'm not too certain if Gogeta was out at that specific time, but basically we did have several key leads which were definitely the best leads in the game because they allowed us to super attack more frequently, and because it was so rare to find units with multiple key links that actually shared multiple key links with each other. It's just like, okay, definitely going to go with the key lead instead of the percentage lead. In hindsight, a lead like this probably would have been better if it provided a key boost alongside a stat boost, but there weren't too many units like that. Of course, they are giving more and more units that rebuff or Dokkan Awaken those types of leader skills just so that people that don't necessarily have the best leads can go ahead and use these leader skills in particular. But for the most part, it's nothing too great. But of course, if we move on to a super attack, he causes supreme damage and gives a 25% attack boost to all of your allies. But the next part of the card that I'm going to be talking about is honestly one of the most interesting to me, just because units like Vegito don't tend to have something like this. And of course, I'm talking about his 12 key multiplier. For a Nuka, he has a very high 12 key multiplier of 145%. If I'm not mistaken, the highest 12 key multiplier in the game belongs to Cell Jr., and he has like 165. Depending on which one you are using. And of course, Vegito has 145, and he gets a 12% attack boost per orb obtained. And the reason why I say it's not too common is that if you take a look at other Nukas, for example, you have the Agility Super Saiyan Gotenks. Of course, before he was base Gotenks and he Dokkaned into a Super Saiyan, he also is a Nuka, and his 12 key multiplier is 125%. Granted, not every single Nuka in the game has a 12 key multiplier this low, because I believe Buhan has a 12 key multiplier of 140%. It may be a bit higher, could be wrong. Definitely let me know if I am wrong, but I'm pretty certain that it's 140% at the very least. So for Vegito to have a 12 key multiplier of 145% definitely is a bit of a surprise to me, but I would imagine that one of the main reasons why they did this is to make up for the fact that he doesn't have too many great attack links. For example, his main attack link by far is going to be First Battle, and he does have Power Bestow by God, which he is going to share with Ultimate Gohan if you do decide to run the two together. But for the most part, he isn't really, not lacking, but like, he isn't really stacking any attack links, which is a bit of a shame. But of course, that mostly comes down to the fact that he isn't the Super Saiyan, and of course he is a Nuka, so they probably try to balance it out like that. And at the time, I would imagine that he was easily one of the hardest hitters in the game if you were to get him to Super Attack 10 and such. And Nukas were easily the best part of the game. At a certain point, of course, just because of how many orbs they could potentially collect. But he could definitely work well on a mono-in team just because of how many orb changes you have in that team. For example, you have Rage Trunks, who is easily the best partner for LR Gohan because of how many orbs he provides to LR Gohan. Rage Trunks also provides orbs to himself. You have the Super Saiyan Goku, who rebirthed recently. You have Android 13. Just so many units that can change orbs and will allow you to optimize Vegito. But the problem with that is that you can prioritize other units that are great. For example, again, like I pointed out, you have LR Gohan, Rage Trunks. You're going to be prioritizing LR Gohan just because he can basically one-shot everything. Let's say you don't have LR Gohan. You maybe want to go ahead and run Buhan. Buhan is super reliant on those orbs as well, so you may want to go ahead and give the orbs from Rage Trunks to Buhan. Android 13, the Super Saiyan Goku. You may want to go ahead and keep Rage Trunks' orbs for himself, because Rage Trunks is most likely going to hit harder than Vegito. Definitely is worth taking into account some of these things. For example, let's say, I think to be fair, this is probably one of the very few situations where you would give Vegito the orbs. Let's say you have Rage Trunks at Super Attack 1 and you have a Vegito at Super Attack 10. In that particular scenario, you would go ahead and give Vegito the orbs just because he is going to be hitting harder. But if you have a Rage Trunks at Super Attack 10, which is most likely the case because he does have that farmable super attack, you're most likely going to be giving Trunks the orbs. But again, it depends on who you are running in your team. For example, if you have LR Gohan, Rage Trunks, and like Buhan or something in your team, that's instantly 3 different units that require you to, you know, give them orbs, which is just absolutely insane. It's just basically impossible to maintain 4 units, let alone 3, which is where he kind of drops down when it comes to how relevant he is in the meta. It's not to say that he is bad by any means, because I suppose if you get enough Vegitos, you can go ahead and get him to Super Attack 10, and if you maybe want to nuke, he is of course going to be a great combination when you combo him with Super Baby 2, but unfortunately nuking just isn't as relevant as it used to be, and this is one of the main reasons why Vegito has fallen off massively. He isn't bad by any means, and I'm like just talking from a scenario where you'd give him orbs from other units, you know, orb changes and such, and Rage Trunks. Well, I guess Rage Trunks is an orb changer, but you don't necessarily need to rely on that because he can do something himself. He doesn't exactly need the help from other units, but he definitely will be at his best when he is getting orbs from orb changes. But now, if we move on to the Teq Vegito, completely different unit, but his leader skill gives a 30% HP and attack boost to all types. He causes supreme damage and gives a 25% attack boost to all allies, and he also has a 12Q multiplier of 145%, but the biggest difference here is that he actually has an additional attack link, and I would imagine that the majority of you have probably found which attack link that is. And he also gives a 30% attack and defensive boost, so to this day, he is still one of the best support units in the game. And of course, if you've seen the majority of my videos, you will know how good support units are. For example, STR Super Saiyan God Goku, Gogeta, all 100% in a potential system gets a 200%, not 200%, 200% would be absolutely broken. But units like that, when they are fully maxed in the potential system, gets a 200,000 attack boost when they are paired up with a support unit like Vegito, which is absolutely insane. Of course, if we move on to his link set, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, the Saiyan lineage, Prepare for Battle, Power Bestowed by God, Fused Fighter, Supreme Power, and Fierce Battle. So the attack link that they actually added to this Vegito in particular is Supreme Power. It's not too crazy because of course not too many units have that link, and it only activates when you are taking on the Kid Buu event, if I'm not mistaken. But it does give him a 1000 attack and defensive boost, which again isn't too crazy by any means. And then he also has Fierce Battle, Prepare for Battle, Fused Fighter, which are obviously his best links, and I didn't really touch on the Int Vegito's links just because the Teq one has the exact same, so I suppose I can just say the same thing for both. When it comes to the link set, to be honest, they both fit really well on their particular teams. Granted, for a mono N team, the main links are easily going to be Shocking Speed, Prepare for Battle, or a combination of both. You have LR Gohan, it's definitely going to be a combination of both because LR Gohan has both Shocking Speed and Prepare for Battle. You have LR Piccolo, Shocking Speed. You have Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta with Prepare for Battle. Yeah, Rage Trunks with Prepare for Battle. Just so many units with that Prepared for Battle link. And of course, when you are running support units that give key and an attack boost as well, it doesn't really matter how many key links they share because you have the support units giving the boost anyway. But of course, the majority of the units in that team are going to be having that Prepare for Battle link. And it's kind of the same with a Teq team, but the thing about the Teq team is that it's a bit more reliant when it comes to Fused Fighter in certain situations. For example, if we're talking from an optimal standpoint, and let's just say that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is on a global version of the game, your rotations are most likely going to consist of Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, so that right there is, of course, the Over in a Flash link. And then in the second rotation, you're going to have LR Goku and Super Saiyan Bardock. So Super Saiyan Bardock is just going to be given the orbs to LR Goku anyway, and of course, you're going to have a support unit most likely in that last slot, or just another unit with the Prepare for Battle link. And again, it depends on what you want to run. For example, you may want to run Merger Masu, who has the Fused Fighter link with Vegito. You have Vegito, again, Fused Fighter with Super Saiyan Gotenks, or Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, I should say. But it doesn't really matter if Vegito super attacks or not, because he is just basically there to give that 30% attack and offensive boost. And one thing that I didn't really touch on is the boost that he provides with that super attack mechanic. And the thing about this is that, realistically, for the majority of your units to benefit from this, you're going to have to put him in the first slot. But the thing about the super attack mechanic boost is that it doesn't actually provide that big of an increase in comparison to the passive. I don't know how it works exactly. I believe there are definitely a few posts on the Dokkan subreddit talking about how different boosts do different things and how the passives tend to give a much bigger boost instead of the super attack mechanics. Not to say that the super attack mechanic gives like no boost at all, but when you compare it to the passive, I definitely believe that it provides way more in terms of offensive and defensive abilities. But so far, I can definitely see the similarities between a Teq type and an Int type. They both have the same leader skills, same super attack mechanics, same 12Q multiplier. The only real difference is, of course, the stats, the additional link that the Teq Vegito has, and the fact that, of course, Teq Vegito is a support unit instead of being a nuker. But of course, now moving on to the newest Vegito, and he basically has what I was talking about earlier when it comes to leader skills. He gives a 50% HP and attack boost to agility types as well as 2 key. He causes supreme damage and gives a 20% attack boost, and his 12 key multiplier, guess what? It's not 145, it's 140, so they kind of, I'm not going to say they shafted him because they kind of did in that particular scenario. But that's not to say that they didn't shaft other areas of his card. And of course, he is the current one without any rebirth, but I would imagine that that is definitely going to be coming eventually just because that's what they do with the World Tournament units now. But here's the biggest disappointment about the card, and it's not to say that he is bad, but he is pretty bad for certain players just because of how you have to play him. He gives a, well, he gets a 100% defensive boost, and he gives a 30% attack boost to super allies when he is first to attack. Now, if we were to think about the optimal rotations on an agility team for super types, you have Vegito and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in the first and second slot, and then in this, next rotation, you'd have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue Goku. In the last slot, you're going to have, let's just say, the new Vegito, the agility Pan, and I believe I already said Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Like, you can see where problems start to arise, and I don't know why they are still in this mindset that we want units that have these particular passives, because it just doesn't work too well. It completely messes with the rotations in teams, and it just doesn't allow you to use these units in particular. So basically, they kind of shafted the Vegito. I mean, his link set is very similar to the previous ones. Of course, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Prepare for Battle, Power Bestowed by God, Feast Fighter, and Brainiacs. Of course, he is missing out on the biggest attack link out of all the Vegitos, which is Fierce Battle, and he definitely won't get it because World Tournament units get the Rebirth link instead of Fierce Battle, so he is missing out offensively, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really matter that much because, at the very least, he is going to be providing a 30% attack boost to all your allies, right? Nope, because he has to be the first attack in your turn, and it's not to say that this is bad because you could definitely be in need of him if you don't have too many great units. For example, let's say you only have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta or Super Vegito, you could very well use him on your team, but the thing is, let's say that every single attack is in that first slot, Vegito isn't going to get that defensive boost unless he attacks first, so you can see where the problems start to arise. But let's say that all the attacks are after Vegito attacks, that's not a problem at all, but the likeliness of that happening consistently is very low, and then of course it just doesn't work out too well, and it's not really worth using him, which is a bit of a shame because I was definitely looking forward to a brand new Vegito card. But here's the thing, they definitely tend to fix units once they get a rebirth, so I definitely think this is what they wanted to do at first, just make him, okay, he's not that great, he definitely has a bit of potential here and there, but as soon as he gets his rebirth, just get rid of that first to attack restriction, and there you go, problem solved. Like a 100% defensive boost, another agility tank for whatever reason, and he also gives a 30% attack boost to all your super allies. The super attack mechanic doesn't even matter that much, but again, if you're going to be putting him in that first slot, at least your units are going to be benefiting from the super attack mechanic, as well as the boost from his passive, but overall pretty underwhelming, unfortunately. But that's just talking from an optimal standpoint. Of course, like I said, if you don't have too many great units for your agility type team, he is going to be a great option, but overall, I am definitely a bit disappointed. But of course, moving on to the final part of the video, and I actually had a different order initially, but in the last slot, unfortunately, I am gonna have to put the agility Vegito there. The fact that he is just so reliant on putting him in that first attacking slot just takes away so much from him. If you put that aside, he would definitely be better than the Int type, which is in second place. And then of course, in the first slot, Teq Vegito, just an absolute beast. You have seen multiple times how much units benefit from a passive like that, and to this day, he is just an absolutely incredible unit, and I would imagine that he is going to be staying an incredible unit for the longest period of time, as long as support units are relevant, which I would imagine is going to be a long while. But yeah, that is the order. Let me know in the comment section down below if you agreed, if you didn't agree. Do you think Vegito has potential, the agility one, of course? Let me know in the comment section down below as always, but I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one.